Every time it gets me. Every
No
time.
No
intro.
intro. No,
Sorry.
we don't have a walk and talk intro yet. We need one.
Sit and
Sit
chat
and chat.
intro.
Yeah, we need one.
Well, good evening, folks. We are not in Columbia, South Carolina. We're not at Colonial Life Arena, unfortunately. Fortunately, I don't know. We're just kind of in a weird headspace right now with Kentucky basketball. The trip to Auburn took a lot out of us. It most certainly did. It was exhausting. For the fatigue, all the talking points about fatigue with this team. I am currently fatigued, but that's okay. We got a big time. Is it a big time? It's a game that Kentucky absolutely positively has to win tonight after losing 3 straight with 4 regular season games to go. This is the easiest left on the schedule before 3 quad ones to wrap things up. Jack Pilgrim here with Zack Geoghegan, ready to preview the Cats versus the Cocks. How are you feeling tonight, Zachary?
I didn't expect that question because I don't really know how I'm feeling, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm kind of in a, man, I just would love to see a stress-free, easy, come out the gates, come out to a 10-0 lead, Kentucky up by 15 at halftime, win this game by 25. We're cruising, we're all just having good vibes. But even if that all happens, I still probably won't feel as great as I did, what was it now? 2 to 10 days ago before the Florida game. So I'm feeling like I really want to see Kentucky come out and just destroy this South Carolina team in a way that we haven't seen this season and really prove that, there is something still left in the tank with this team instead of whatever we've seen. Not even this Florida game really, but the last 2 games in particular have been ugly. So let's see, let's see what happens tonight if they can actually just really blow through a team, because even if you win by 5 or if it's close late, it's just going to make people more mad and more frustrated with this team and all that. Like if losing the way you did at Auburn with how the whole post game went and everything, and Mark Pope getting fined today, if that doesn't light a fire under you, what's going to at this point? South Carolina's bad. They're the worst team in the SEC in terms of offense and defense. So I don't know what else you really want. For a perfect bounce back opportunity for Kentucky. It's all right here on the plate for you. So let's see if they can eat it up. Did you like that?
Yeah, I did. On paper, 105, and then I believe it's the worst game on the schedule for Kentucky since Bellarmine on December 23rd. South Carolina stinks, and they are without a starter in Miles Studi, who has not been good this year, especially not as of late. 14 combined points in his last 7, but he was a starter. And South Carolina on paper is very, very thin as is. Very top-heavy. It's the Meechie Johnson show. You get the Kobe Knox and a couple of the top-heavy things. But then beyond that, there's really just not a lot to like. South Carolina stinks. They're 12-15 for a reason. They're 3-11 in the SEC for a reason. On paper, this is a game that Kentucky should be able to win by 30. But the issue is Lamont Paris is 2-1. A winning record, a losing coach all time at South Carolina has a winning record against the University of Kentucky Wildcats.
Huh.
Stunning, right?
What were the games? Can you refresh my memory? Do you know them off the top of your head?
He's only been here 4 years. So or this is his 4th year. So last year was the loss, and then the 2 years before that, both wins.
Huh. Wow, I didn't even realize that, but hey, good for him, I guess.
Kentucky,
that's probably the only reason he still has a job.
Kentucky 1 and unfortunately, actually, that's probably the reality of this. Kentucky 1-3 in their last 4 opportunities down at Colonial Life Arena. Mm-hmm. Columbia, that building just has been an absolute house of horrors. Just, I hate everything about it. It's a good vibe when things are actually rocking, but man, there's just something. This is actually our first road trip. You remember that? That was the one 2 years ago or 3 years ago.
Oh God, that had to have been longer. Well, maybe it was 3 years ago, because I do remember going to South Carolina, and I remember going to their gym. I remember the outside of their arena being like, "Whoa, this is kind of like tropical vibey." Like, it was very cool. I think we have some KS board members actually down there as well, so I don't know if they're tuned in or anything. But the environment, or I remember the arena being pretty cool. So I do remember that was a long time. That might have been 4 years ago, for all I know. That feels like a lifetime. But yeah.
But on paper, everything about this matchup suggests that it should be a blowout win. But there's always that kind of extra layer of this, not a rivalry because Kentucky and South Carolina are not rivals, but this head-to-head that has just not gone very well for Kentucky. And they got to get rid of those demons, figure out a way to get just the weirdness of that building out of the way. and realize that they are 105 in the net for a reason. They are not very good. They are without another starter. And if you take away Michi Johnson and Kobe Knox, there's really nothing else there for them to beat you with. So this kind of has to be a big time victory. I know I put a loss in our KSR predictions, but that was just because,
but not really, you know.
There was an entire graphic of KSR people saying it was going to be a win for Kentucky. That just scares the absolute bejesus out of me. They have to win this game so bad, so I will put everything on the line for a Kentucky win.
Yeah, Michi Johnson is definitely priority number one for Kentucky in this game. And I'm sure a lot of people know already, but the Michi Johnson career arc is just incredible when you're looking at like his sports reference page. You know, started 2 years at Ohio State, Cleveland guy. I think he's from the Cleveland area at least. 2 years at Ohio State, then goes to 2 years at South Carolina, then goes back to Ohio State, then goes back to South Carolina. He's a 6-year guy. He's only 23 somehow, despite being a 6-year guy. So that seems kind of odd just on its own right there. But yeah, he's definitely the number one guy to stop. I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago that he had a huge game against Kentucky, something like that. So he's familiar playing this team, but he's had
two games, two big games. He's 2-0 against Kentucky. The first one was the disaster at Rupp Arena, where they were the worst team in the SEC, and they come in and earn a 3-point victory. He goes for a career high 26 points. He goes nuclear, and then the year after, he scores 14 in a blowout win with Kentucky ranked 6th in Columbia. And then even last year, he was on that stupid Ohio State team that beat the crap out of Kentucky.
Gosh.
He just didn't play. He was hurt that day, but just him being in the building throws off the vibes for this Kentucky Wildcat team. So he's a part of the issue, Zach.
Yeah, and he's a good player. Like, he's averaging 20 points a game in SEC play. The shooting numbers aren't great, but he chucks up a lot of shots. He commands the ball a lot. High usage guy. Then they got, like you said, Kobe Knox, Kevin Knox's brother, Carter Knox's brother, the whole deal there. So he's actually been playing pretty good basketball as of late. Probably the best basketball of his career as well. Over the last, since the start of the SEC play, he's been a double-digit guy pretty consistently. Eli Ellis is their famous, or he was like the big OTE. I think he was OTE, right? Yeah, he was their big social media guy at OTE, but he was still kind of like a low-end 4-star guy. So he's actually been kind of like a steady contributor for them. Miles Studi, like you said, he's out. They have a Kentucky native, if we want to throw a little bit of that angle on there as well. EJ Walker.
Sure.
He was a 5-year varsity starter. Lloyd Memorial, played for his dad up there in Northern Kentucky, all-time leading scorer there. Something about Lamont Paris and these Kentucky 3-stars he's just like in love with, because he had Trent Noah, and then Mark Pope came in and got Trent Noah from him, and now he goes after EJ Walker, and he's like their 7th man right now. Like, he was supposed to redshirt, and then things went so poorly so quickly for South Carolina that Lamont Paris elected to burn that redshirt like 9 games into the season. So yes, definitely a very top-heavy roster. Kind of starts with Michi Johnson, Kobe Knox, and they have a couple other guys. I'm not going to try and pronounce Mike's last name. If you're looking,
no, it's Mongolian Mike. He's a player.
Mongolian Mike. Yeah, he's good. He plays over 30 minutes a game. Elijah Strong comes off the bench, or starting, like, only plays 20 minutes, but scores a lot. So, but like when you look at their Ken Palm, I think let me look exactly what they are, because I think they're dead last in one of the stats, and then so they're dead last in offense, second to last in defense among all SEC teams. So, and they beat Mississippi State last time. Like, they're coming off a win against Mississippi State. They lost 7 or 8 games in a row before that. Josh Hubbard lays a dud, goes like 4 for 20 or something in that game. I think Stephen Pearl even said something in the post game after Kentucky, saying like, I almost threw up my lunch when I saw that Josh Hubbard played terribly because he dropped 46 on them the game before. But so they're just not a good basketball team. So that's why it'd be very disappointing if Kentucky comes out and just does not have any effort or energy. I don't expect that to be the case tonight, because it's kind of is like a desperation mode. Like, Lenardi dropped him down to an 8 seed today, something like that. You lose this game, you're right down to a 9 seed pretty quickly.
They will drop tonight if they lose this game.
They will drop immediately down to a 9 or even the 10 seed. So you got 3 more games after that to get yourself back up, even if you do lose. But you just want to win this one, and then you can kind of if you win this one, you're probably locked into the NCAA tournament. But at that point, the games after that is how high up in the seeding can you go. But you lose this one, and then you really are like, okay, well, shoot. Like, if they lose the next game after that, like, what actually happens? So I think
Lunardi actually just did 2 days ago did a a tiering of locks, should be in, on the bubble, out. And Kentucky was on that should be in tier where they were not included in that in the locks for this very reason, where yes, on paper their resume suggests that it could be as high as a 6, probably settling in that 7 or 8 range, could be a 9, but if they lose this game, they're falling and then potentially free falling because the three really, really tough games this point moving forward. Vanderbilt at Texas A&M, College Station, and then closing it out against the defending champs Florida. Like that's
in the country, or one of them.
That's a gauntlet to close things out. And again, as you said, if they could lose this game, well, who's to say that they can't lose the next 3? So it's scary. They're in a really just total. If they win tonight by 30, then you go, oh, shoot, well, they're back on track. Why don't they go win the next couple?
Yeah.
Lose this one, then you say that they might lose out, and we could be going into the SEC tournament playing for our NCAA tournament lot. Just really scary spot to be in.
Yeah, and that's how fickle, not even that's how fickle we are, how fickle the team is, the fan base in general. Like, it just, things can just change in a instance, like with how we feel about this team. Even like we were saying, like even a 2 or 3 point win would just be like, man, they just barely stuck away from that team. But a win is still a win, and that's all that matters on the resume and on the when you're actually looking at the seating and stuff like that. And I think like even in that Lenardi thing, the should be in, I think he clarifies like the models that they have is still like should be in is still like 90+%. So like you're still like in a good spot here. But gosh, you really got to win this game. So I do think they get it done though, ultimately. We'll give our predictions later, but I have good reason to believe that Kentucky's just a better overall team than South Carolina and should be playing with enough fire and flair that, the South Carolina atmosphere, the road environment. I mean, do their fans even care? I mean, Kentucky's coming to town, but they're 3-11 in conference. How much are they? How packed is their arena going to be? Are they doing a whiteout for this one?
$4 tickets.
$4 tickets?
$4 tickets. You can get into high school. You can't even get into a high school game for that cheap.
You couldn't get into the district tournament tonight down there wherever they're playing it in the 11th region. Like you can't even do that.
$4 American dollars to go watch an SEC basketball game on a Tuesday night.
Yeah, that's kind of embarrassing, actually. But
that's horrible.
Yeah. So hopefully,
horrible.
Hopefully, Kentucky can. If that's the case, I mean, shoot, if that's the case, maybe everyone will get hammered to go in there and have a great old time. It'll be packed in there. So hopefully, that's actually not the case. But yeah, so it's bordering on about as close to a must-win as possible for Kentucky right now.
Anything else game specific that you'd like to talk about? Because I think we should talk about two of the bigger, I don't want to say developments, but two of the kind of newsier items that popped up today. Any last parting words about this specific game? What you need to see? Yada yada yada.
No, I mean, I feel like we all just kind of expect Ortega to get 25. Like it used to be, the bar was 20 for him. Now it's like the kid's going to get 25 every game.
Ooh, note.
What do you got? Go for it.
If he scores 20 points tonight, he breaks
Antonio Reeves record?
He breaks Antonio Reeves' record at Kentucky for most 20-point performances in the SEC with 20.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. It feels like it's kind of wasted right now, which is a bummer. Well, not wasted. Maybe that's a bad word to say, but he's been fun, man. And it does kind of take away, the record kind of takes away from some of the historic stuff that Ortega's doing. So that's kind of a bummer, but
60 of 63 games wearing a Kentucky uniform. He has finished in double figures, and he's had 30 straight games. Ooh, another note. He's had 30 straight games of double figure performances, tying Malik Monk as the only other player to do it. So we have a Malik Monk record and an Antonio Reeves record. Both will be broken tonight with 20 points. 20 points gets both.
And I think he'll probably get there as well. So hopefully he does. But, I feel like against Georgia, we didn't really see the bigs show up too much. Against Auburn, I feel like they showed up a little bit more. But I'd like to see the front court really try and make an impact in this game. And then Calder Chandler just needs a big bounce back game in general. Like, I'm sure he'd be the first one.
That's why I'm wearing it.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. That's a great. Yeah, I remember exactly when you got that shirt right outside the Hyatt there, from a stranger. So yeah, I really want to see a bounce back game from him, because he would be the first to admit that he played poorly last game. Was just not himself. Didn't look like the player that he is, like trying to play outside of his comfort zone a little bit. So would love to see a big bounce back game from him, and then maybe get a little bit more effort, or not effort, but a little bit more production from the front court. But that would be some of the things I'm looking at.
Mark Pope fined $25,000 for his mother effer rant at Auburn. You were there. Any lingering, marinated thoughts about how just freaking weird that whole post-game experience was on the Plains?
No, I mean, I rewatched the game this morning, which was a tough rewatch. That one took a while. That was a lot of stopping and starting and going to do other things while I was trying to watch that. Because the refs, I mean, maybe they weren't as bad as on the rewatch as maybe as it felt in real time, but I mean, there was just a bunch of like terrible calls. So I understand why Pope did it. You know, he earned that 25,000. But a lot of people made the note like, I wish he had just said it in the straight presser. You know, like if you're going to get fined, like just say it in the presser. And I'm almost kind of agreeing with him too. Like, just go balls out. You know, like say what you got to say. Like go scorched earth on him and let everyone know, because there were some really bad calls in that game. Especially down the stretch, obviously with the Colin Chandler call there. So, but no, I mean, 25,000, it's a drop in the bucket for a guy making $5 million a year. So, I don't really know how all the fine stuff. I don't know. I felt like they weren't going to fine him because I didn't know like how the scheduling works for that. I was like, it's Tuesday morning and they still haven't fined him yet. So, but they finally doled that one out, and yeah, he deserved it because
I was going to feel good about how it all unfolded if he didn't get fined, because I was like, hey, he got his point across. He got to kind of mother F somebody and speak his piece and not have it hurt his wallet. I was like, okay, cool. But then when he got the fine, I'm like, okay, well, now the more that we think about it, like, you did call them mother effer. Like, did you think that you could call them mother effers?
Imagine if he said the actual word. Like,
yeah.
If he said the actual word, we might be looking at either a bigger fine or I don't think a suspension maybe, but I mean, you can't say the full word at least, but I would have liked to have at least dropped the mother effer in front of the press and everybody, and but then you get some follow-up questions, and I'm sure it'd be a whole snowball effect from there. So, but it is going to be one of those moments we look back on in 5 years and be like, man, that really happened. That was kind of crazy, wasn't it? So yeah, even now it's crazy.
Back-to-back weird post-game press conferences at Auburn. One for a massively surprising upset win for John Calipari with Jeff Goodman and all the national guys in attendance, ready to write John Calipari's obituary as the head coach at Kentucky at the time. Like, that was just a massive swing in momentum for Cal at the end of his time here. And he kind of just gloats, and he's like, "Oh, you guys thought you were going to be able to write my obituary." Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, they were just a couple months early.
Yeah, no kidding. And then this one was, "Oh, we're getting screw loose with Mark Pope and seeing him in a way that we have never seen him before." That was, just so bizarre. But yeah, it hit me today where it's like, if you listen to what he said, you read the transcript of all the words from the press conference about all of the adjectives he used to describe not the officials, but kind of the officials, and say Otego was playing 1-on-7 and 1-on-8, all of the things. It was like, well, yeah, what'd you really think was going to happen? If you're going to go that far, why not just be up there and go, hey, Courtney, I hate your guts. You stink. You really, really stink, and I hope you know how bad you stink. I would have much preferred that, but, it is what it is. Hopefully he doesn't have a reason to do that again tonight and double down on that take. He's got to get asked about it tonight. It's just, he just needs a win to get all of that behind him too and focus on what's ahead. But just fascinating that, the head coach of Kentucky is getting fined $25,000 for officiating. Did Cal ever get fined?
I was really just about to ask you that. That might be a Steven question. He might know that one, but I'm not entirely sure if I can remember Cal getting at least fined for going after the refs. I can't off the top of my head.
Well, because he was always the passive-aggressive, good job, Doug. Way to go, Doug. You're so much better than all of us, Doug. He never actually said, hey, no, you suck at your job and I hate you.
Maybe early on in his tenure when the internet or social media wasn't as big and things didn't go as viral as quickly, maybe he kind of snuck something in there that went unnoticed. I don't know, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head that he got fined for at least.
The other note, another Drake collab coming out.
Oh, yeah.
That's coming in March, I've heard through the grapevine that's something to be aware of. That's going to be kind of a March Madness thing. First and foremost, I'm broke as is. I can't keep buying all this nonsense. This season, the season of nostalgia has really just hooked me. And the latest is a 1998 championship, track jacket that OVO released today. They previewed it for their spring collection and all that. The last one, I don't if you remember a couple years ago, that release was like $678 or something for the Letterman jacket, and it was like $200 for the hoodie, $100 for the t-shirt, $50 for the hat, or whatever it was. I can't afford all this stuff, guys. Like, I love the gear itself, but I can't afford to exist. Like, you
already got the bookers this month. You can't be double dipping too often.
I can't do it. So, are you going to be partaking in the new 1998 collection?
No.
Oh,
no.
Well,
sorry. I barely cool. Splurge on the bookers and stuff. No, it does look cool, but I'm not paying. It's going to be expensive, and I'm not giving my money to Drake for that.
Drake. All right. Well, let's wrap this thing up. We're 30 minutes away from tip-off. We wanted this to just kind of be like a nice little tee up for the tip-off here in 30 minutes. So without further ado, thanks to our friends at Parlor Pizza. Shout out Parlor Pizza. We got to enjoy a remote last week that I wish could have been a celebratory remote. The timing really just freaking sucked, and we just kind of had to just it's source to say luck. Go figure. But we appreciate their hospitality and appreciate their delicious food. The beer was amazing. The smoked wings were amazing as always. So appreciate our partnership and how delicious they are. But we're going to see just how delicious they are tonight with our pregame predictions. Shout out to our friends at Parlor Pizza. What you got for us, Zachary?
Let me actually double check my final score here real quick, if I can riff for a second. I know I patted in the mid 70s. I said 78-76 Kentucky. I think Ortega is just the easy MVP. Let's make it fun and pick a non-Ortega MVP for this game. And I'll pick Colin Chandler because I do think he's got a bounce back coming. I think we all imagined that there would be some shooting regression after his 50%, 55% string of games or stretch of games, however long that was. But, to go 1 for 6 from 3 and then to turn the ball over 5 times is a little bit too far in that direction. So I think he'll pop back up. Let's say he goes 3 for 6 tonight from 3, finishes with 14 points. Give him 4 assists as well and 0 turnovers. Give him a total bounce back game for Colin Chandler as Kentucky kind of has to sneak in, sweat this one out towards the end.
I'm going to go, unfortunately, just for, I got to reverse jinx this. I'm sorry. You guys are going to hate me for it, but I just got to do what I got to do.
No, you're taking a hit for the BBN. We all appreciate it, or I do at least.
Yeah, it's worth it at this point. 79-76. Kentucky loses in Columbia. Quick note, we didn't get to talk about Malachi Moreno had his weird ankle thing.
Not on the report, though, at all.
Was a little sore ankle, but he's good to go. He feels great. It responded well, but it was definitely not just like an overreaction in real time. It actually did take a minute to kind of get over he needed every bit of the 48, 78, 72 hours that we've seen since that trip to the plane. So he's doing okay. He's not going to be my game MVP, although I do think he's going to play relatively well. As we're talking about, the history's on the line for Otega Oweh. He's had a historic Kentucky career. He has a chance with 20 tonight to become the first to break Antonio Reeves' 20-point record at Kentucky. To be the most since 1996-97 season, I believe, for one player with 20-point SEC performances. So I think Otega is going to be our game MVP. He's going to go for...
Well, I just said you got to pick a non-Otega guy. Give me a non-Otega guy.
Okay. Otega's going to go for 27
We all know this.
Points.
Otega's going to get his points. Yeah.
And, okay, then I'll say Malachi Moreno. I think he bounced back from his little ankle issue, and he goes for a double-double because I don't think the South Carolina bigs are very good.
I don't think, is anyone good besides Michi Johnson?
No. So I don't think they're very good.
Yeah.
They're undersized. It's a chance, but we're going to keep that just between us. This is just our little secret. Big Malachi game. He bounces back from injury, and Kentucky loses 79-76. And hopefully we are celebrating on the other side of this with a live rapid reaction right here on the KSR YouTube channel. Shout out to our friends at Parlor Pizza, for Jack Pilgrim, for Zack Geoghegan, for Stephen Peak behind the camera. We will see you then. Go Cats.